Gordon Ramsay knew he couldn't keep Garfield at bay any longer. The cat's powers were growing by the second. He had tried everything in his power to stop the cat, pulling all sorts of funny faces, banging doors to remind Garfield to stay down. The list went on. All in all, it had failed to work. Today was the day that Garfield had to face the consequence. Weeks of trying to stop Garfield had gotten too much. The action figure had gotten too frustrated and decided that his time on Earth had come to an end. Garfield sneaked up behind the big green garbage truck, into the back of it, and hid. Once it was on its way, he used the truck to turn into his vehicle. The garbage truck was easily able to withstand the power of a superhero who was no longer able to be controlled by another human being. Just as soon as the garbage truck had arrived at his location, he opened the back doors and reached into the bag to pull out his prized possession. He then opened the window and started to scream. Come out, wherever you are," he screamed out to the cat. "Come on, come back here, it's all right. I'm sorry. I thought you were too dangerous to be around." The garbage truck rolled down the road, as Garfield could no longer be heard screaming. He then felt a tug at his pant leg and quickly ran back to his store. He slammed it shut behind him and went up to his seat, putting the figure back into the bag. The voice of the garbage truck brought tears to his eyes. It was so unlike the garbage truck to say such a thing. Garfield looked up and saw the figure of the garbage truck. His new friend, with his cartoon hair and bad attitude. He felt a bit better, until he noticed that the figure was now staring at him with a smile. Garfield knew that that was his chance. He looked at the garbage truck and didn't know what to do. He decided to run away and not look back, but a pink blur ran past him and grabbed him by the scruff of his shirt. Garfield was trying his best to resist, but the pink blur just didn't want to let go. She dragged him around to the back of the garbage truck and threw him to the ground. Garfield landed with a big thud and he let out a loud cry of pain. When he looked up, the figure had disappeared into the darkness. He decided that he couldn't just lay there and not go after his pink, happy friend. He got up and started limping away. Just then, Garfield saw his reflection in a dark piece of trash and decided to take a better look. He did a double take at himself. He couldn't believe his eyes. His face was covered with a multitude of bruises and cuts. His eyes were scratched, his pants were ripped, and he was missing his arms and legs. His face, he thought, was one of the worst. There was a chunk of jaw missing and most of his lips were a big bloody mess. A tear slid down his face as he looked himself over and saw the long list of his injuries. Well, he thought to himself, it's obvious that I'm on my way to death. I better get on with my life. I've only got a few more hours left until I'm completely helpless. And so he got up and started running. As soon as he was on his way, he decided to open his secret hideout. He was only too happy to climb up the chains and take a look around. He checked every corner, every nook, and every hole in the wall, until he found what he was looking for. Inside was a sword and a long, black cape. Garfield lifted up the cape and gave a satisfying yank. To his surprise, he was able to pull up a long, black, hat-like thing. I have done it. I have opened my secret hideout. I have gone back to my simple world, and it feels good to be back. Well, the good thing is, I got rid of that mean old town lady and the guy that made me go into the garbage can. I don't want to know what those people are up to and I'm glad to be out of there. There is still one problem though. I'm totally helpless. I can't use my arms, legs or anything. Now what am I supposed to do? Nothing.